Hi everybody, and welcome to episode 27 of Let's Elden Ring, a comfortable playthrough for intelligence-based character builds. And the goal of this entire series has been, I guess, to show a way that players either new to From Software games or players that might be frustrated by that studio's reputation for difficult games could approach the series and maybe find a way to be successful without jumping into the deep end in terms of challenge and difficulty. And my approach for that was a magic based character. Those have a reputation for not being as hard as some other builds, and I've tried to avoid gimmicks. You'll see a lot of videos out there of, oh, this melts bosses, and it'll be, like 150 level character with, 80 intelligence using, magic you have to be level 60 for, all this stuff. And it's like, yeah, but how do you get to level 150? That's nice that you can do that when you're already tough enough to beat the game. But what about the rest of us? How do we actually get to a point where we can use a strategy like that, right? So my focus here has really been on survivability. And let's just take a break and look at the character before we go into this final confrontation. Really, for the first third of the game, probably, I prioritized vigor, which dictates your hit points. Uh, I prioritize being able to take hits. If we're new, we're not necessarily great at these games. We need to be able to make mistakes without dying, right? So vigor was my top priority in leveling up the character for a long, long time, and that served us well. If I finally caught up with intelligence and passed it by, but that was really a late game thing, past mid game. What did I neglect? Mind and endurance, really. I've continued to play catch up with them. I think it was worth it, by focusing on damage and health. But if we continue with this in the DLC, or we go into New Game Plus, a focus, not the only focus, but a focus, is going to be getting mind at least up to 38, I think, and endurance. Heck, until you hit the soft cap, you don't really have enough, I don't think. Another difference between this and a traditional, intelligence build is armor. I started with the vagabond character so that they'd have a viable suit of armor to wear for first half of the game. Because again, if we're beginners and we're trying to absorb damage and stay alive, we need armor, right? So the strategy this whole time has been on resilience first, damage second. Okay, not damage in the background, because fortunately sorcery does a lot of damage, but resilience. We also put a big focus on having a melee weapon that does a lot of damage. This one has a special move that has helped us save a lot of FP, or magic points. You put it all together, this is a very good player versus enemy build. It's not a very good player versus player build. The sword's too slow. A lot of these spells are too slow. Human players are just dodging machines, right? Okay, they're going to be able to dodge a lot of our heavy, powerful attacks. So this is a good setup for beating the story, but not necessarily beating other players. There's a ton of guides out there if that's what you want to do, but this from the beginning was about helping new people beat the game. Now, that brings us to actually beating the game. And we're going to be fighting two bosses. They both do a lot of holy damage. So we've got this Haligtree Talisman here, right? Um, it's kind of the first half of the. It's two bosses, really. The first boss will use the shield slash our tier will use the shield. The second boss, we won't. So, one of the things we could do if we're feeling courageous is dropping the shield and going up to the turtle once the second boss fight starts. That's not necessary. It might feel good though. We need to talk about the wondrous physic. I'm gonna leave this as is. A case could be made for the second boss using a boost to charged attacks. We are actually going to be doing a bunch of charged attacks. There's not going to be any magic in this fight. This is all going to be melee. We'll still need some flasks for charging up the greatsword, but that's it. We will need a lot of health, so hopefully that's going to do it. This first guy is kind of a very strong melee fighter, hits like a truck, and does holy stuff, does a little stomp where it damages the ground. Like with other fights, this is really going to be about whether or not we can trade aggro with our partner or not. If we do, he goes down pretty fast. If he gets fixated on us, that can be tough. If he gets fixated on the tier, they won't be around for the second fight, which could be bad. Anyway, let's just see what happens, okay? We'll watch the video the first time. Okay. As always, the opening animation makes it hard to complete the summon, so we may just get clobbered trying to do it. That's okay. Oh, that was a mistake. You can actually stagger him. Don't be fooled by that jump. He can easily switch direction and go for you. So as you can see, he's kind of a pest. Fortunately, he can't be damaged while he does this cornball combo. I did it to us. I try to change this. I did it. That's not necessary. It's just a thing to do. Now this fight is kind of weird, but you always want to be close. There's a couple of sort of, well, we'll just look at this. It's so awesome. Yes, behold. I don't really have enough health flasks for this, in my opinion. Charged is great. You have to run a lot. There's 3 of those. Keep an eye on your endurance. Alright, this is the first annoying thing. It's going to make this ring on the ground. And you want to run and jump it. This is like... it's like 4 in a row. This is the other thing. There's no really good way to avoid this, in my opinion. Some of this stuff is just kind of luck. This is like the Astel exploding cloud. I failed to dodge that. Oh boy. Here we go again. I think I'm just going to leave the endurance recharge. We'll see. rascal. Okay, well that went better. I should have rolled in. Don't run when you're almost out of... Alright, so here we go again. This is that ring. Oh man. A lot of this stuff, I mean, skill's a part of this, skill and practice, but luck's a part of it too. You know, there's certain moves, if it just keeps spamming them, you're in real trouble. Now, I'm not making excuses. That wasn't really one of those situations, but so, some situations are definitely deadlier than others. Oh, stop doing that, Drew. It's annoying that he's impervious to damage while he does that. Wow. That's enough out of you, partner. Okay, let's see how we do this time. Kind of get around the side. It's a mistake to stay in front of him because he's going to do that fire thing. Nice. Got stagger on him. Doesn't do a huge amount of damage, but it feels good. Here's the ring trick. After this, I'll drop the flask. Stop that. Oh, this is the... did better. There's the fire again. Why not hitting him? Got another stagger. Now this one's a little different. It's going to be 2 rings. So that wasn't so bad. Yeah, this is bad. Got him. The magic moment is really dodging that 4 waves of light. But you know, if you try, the nice thing about this boss is everything it does, there's something specific you can do in response. Which means, if you practice enough, you'll get it right. So now we have some decisions to make. We'll activate this for no reason, really. Now we have a few options. I think for winning, we can summon Ronnie. We can repair Marika. I think we can either do the default, or we can use the death rune we found because of Fia. But we're summoning Ronnie. We may not hear her voice. For some reason, I think the copy protection stops my capture card from doing the audio on like cinematics. It's just the voiceovers for some reason. So unfortunately, we'll have to read the subs. But I'm guessing that'll happen here. Let's find out.
The battle is over, I see. I do solemnly swear to every living being and every living soul. Now cometh the age of the stars. 1,000-year voyage under the wisdom of the moon. Here beginneth the chill night that encompasses all, reaching the great beyond. Into fear, doubt, and loneliness, as the path stretcheth into darkness. Well then, shall we? My fair consort eternal.
Pretty good. Why do I think that's the best ending? Well, okay, this is important. Don't begin Journey 2. You can do that at any time. There's zero reason to do that right this minute. I mean zero. Do not do it. Why do I like that ending? Well, I think I've talked about how everything in this world is just kind of shot, and divinity isn't all it's cracked up to be. And there have been all these wars and all this misery and violence and conflict, and only two entities really in the game want to do something different. And one of them is Ronnie, and the other is the Three Fingers. And both want to upend the order of things, and overthrow the rule of the outer will. They want to get rid of this cycle of, repairing the rune. But the rune, every time it's repaired, it seems something's lost. They both want to stop that. Frenzied Flame wants to do that by basically destroying everything. And so while that's a bad ending, I think there's an existential courage to it. And that's a feature shared by Ronnie's ending, where basically, she ascends to godhood. She replaces Marika and Radagon as, the god of this realm. And you, as her lord, leave. So rather than ruling, you leave. You leave the residents of this world to find their own fate and find their own meaning. And yes, there is that kind of that darkness and that cold of feeling alone in that universe, but there's also the freedom of being able to choose your own destiny and decide for yourself what is right and what have some integrity as an individual, and I think that's pretty cool. It's consistent with From's other games, but I think that's a great way to end this story. Hands down my favorite. And then number 2 is the Frenzied Flame. Now, what to do now? We're sitting on 500,000 runes, which is a lot. It's not as much as it used to be, mind you. We could probably, level up 3 times, maybe. Which, again, just isn't what it used to be. I would really consider what else you can do with that money. You might want You might want to get some stuff here. There's all this equipment of champions. Maybe you wanted Melania's armor. It's all here. Maybe you want, this is the Elden Lord. That's all Horaloo. Maybe you like his get up. You know, maybe you want to buy them all. You won't be able to buy them in New Game Plus if that's where you're going, until you beat these bosses again. I don't think. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. I think vendor stock all resets. So there's that option. And there's a lot of cool stuff here. Even if it's not as good as the armor we're wearing, there's the whole just cool fashion side of things. Likewise, you may want to think about what to do with your upgrade stones. Now, we have 3 sombers and 6 ancients. That's a lot, and that means we're going to need a lot of other stones, to do that. So you may want to save your money for smithing stones. You may want to save your money for upgrading some of these spirits. I mentioned that I was kind of curious about Rollo, the Omen Killer. I still sort of am. That's a lot of money. You may want to do those things. Maybe you want to try, using different weapons. This has been fun, but we've been doing this for a long time. Maybe you want to look into spear. Maybe you want to dual wield these spears. Dual wielding spears is a popular choice for player versus player. Maybe you want to do something really weird, like just to show you. Maybe you want to get 2 of these forked hatchets and, put ice on them and spinning slash and dual wield them so that you're doing both frost and blood buildup. And, put on the rotten wing talisman so with every hit it does, start thinking about what would be fun for you to do with your character. Because there's a ton of stuff. My advice would be not to put anything up to max until you're sure you like it. Just upgrade it a little bit and get in some fights, see how you feel. We have 9 of these larval tiers if you want to experiment with changing your build a little. You might find you need another point or 2 of dex to try that weapon you were interested in. Things like that. There's a lot to do. But the main thing is, if you are going to New Game Plus, be sure and buy all this stuff, because all this is going to reset. You're not going to be able to come here and buy all these stones. So, buy a lot of stones, buy a lot of everything. Consider farming runes to buy stuff for New Game Plus. Now, personally, I wouldn't go to New Game Plus. I would stay right here. Because everything's harder in New Game Plus, and if you, if you're still not looking for a big challenge, that is what this playthrough is all about, you probably don't want to do the DLC in New Game Plus. Also, you're going to have to go all the way to Moog again, because the DLC starts in Moog's chamber. So until you beat Moog, which is way down the road, you can't do this DLC. So going into New Game Plus is a pretty huge commitment for you, that you want to be sure that's what you want to do, okay? Because you can't really walk it back unless you keep a backup of your save or something. You can't walk it back. But what I would do between now and then is I would experiment with different weapons, see if there are other things you enjoy playing with. Heck, even experiment with player versus player if you want. If you're not carrying a lot of runes, uh, I what do you have to lose? If you're smart about things like that, don't take any risks. Otherwise, it's fine. Um, you might want to look at a wiki and see if there are any pieces of equipment you want. Maybe you want the blue the dancer talisman, which lowers your max weight but increases your damage. Maybe you want to start wearing light armor and dual wielding stuff and just learn to dodge all the time. But I mean, you've beaten the game. Think about things that would be fun for you to try. And remember, you can go anywhere in this game world. You don't have to go to the hardest place in the world to test out these strategies or equipment. You can also, it's just a good fashioned Souls time. Let's say you're done with this armor and you want to play, you know, um, in the Finger Maiden robe. Well, that's fine. Why not? Go ahead. Upgrade the Scorpion Shield to plus 24. You don't need the gold shield for everything. And the Scorpion Shield looks cool. Just mess around with things. Get geared up the way you want to get geared up, and stockpile some stuff, and you'll be good to go. Shadow of the Erd Tree is next month. I mean, tomorrow's May 1st and it's in June, so it's not long. You can grind out some stuff and then maybe take a break, and you'll be ready to roll. But I hope you've enjoyed this playthrough. I've had a lot of fun with it. I've learned a lot about the mechanics of the game, and I'm sure I would be even better at playing different builds now that I've succeeded with this. I've certainly learned the map of the world better, so it's been a great time for me learning more about Elden Ring, and it's helped clarify some of my thinking, getting to talk about it with somebody, meaning you. And I hope you've gotten something out of it too. This is definitely my game of the generation so far, and it's probably going to stay that way. Just an incredible game that I have nearly 1,000 hours wrapped up in. I'm just crazy about it. And if I've helped anyone get excited about it, well, that's awesome. Now you're one of us. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. I'll probably, next, what will I stream? I don't know, maybe some Fallout. I want to do Shin Megami Tensei 5 V when it comes out. It actually comes out the week before the DLC. But I probably won't be doing every weeknight now. I was kind of aggressive with this schedule because it's such a big game. But I'll probably slow down to a few nights a week. But I hope you'll tune in or you'll check my stuff out on YouTube. I appreciate everybody who's expressed interest in this content. And we'll see you next time, okay? Thanks, everybody.